Everyone, I'd like to call this meeting to order. We can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and salute to the flag of New Mexico.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, as a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Moving on to the next item of the agenda is the approval of the regular meeting agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the meeting agenda as presented.
Second. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
So is Commissioner Salas with us?
I don't think so.
Just music. It's just music, though. That's why I turned it down.
It's not with us, right?
When he calls in, you'll know.
Oh, okay.
The music will stop playing, correct? Still stops the music.
Hopefully Commissioner Salas will join us here in a minute.
Probably not.
Okay, going on to next item is presentations. It's a consideration of proclamation declaring September 18th through the 22nd, 2019 as Grant County Fair Days.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners of the Board. I believe Mr. Lawyer is not here, but I would still like to read the proclamation and maybe have Mr. step up and come accept it for him. Whereas the Grant County Fair has been serving the community for 70 years, and whereas the hallmarks of the fair are education, celebration, and tradition, and the Grant County Fair has good, strong, in its dedication to the presentation of quality, family-oriented education and entertainment. And whereas the Grant County Fair promotes our community and its resources and has been a showplace for the arts and talents of local residents of all ages and abilities. And whereas 2019 marks the 71st Annual Grant County Fair, which will be held September 18th through the 22nd, 2019 at the fairgrounds located in Cliff, New Mexico. And whereas all Grant County residents and visitors are encouraged to attend and participate in this year's fair activities. Now therefore, the Grant County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim September 18th through the 22nd, 2019 as Grant County Fair Days.
Thank you. Mr. Lawyer is not here right now. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve that proclamation.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Pretty impressive 71st Annual Grant County Fair. Good. It's great. We'll get this to Mr. Lawyer or someone. Okay. Thank you.
No need for a picture.
No need for a photo. Moving on to the next item of the agenda, which is the elected officials' reports. Sheriff Gomez, can you start, please? Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioners, my apologies for not attending the last work session and the commission meeting. We had a incident that happened here in the county, so what I'd like to do is just give a synopsis of what was going on with the office of the sheriff, and also give my stats today. One of the letters that I received throughout the month, this was dated on July 26, 2019, and it's in regards to Deputy Vega, Corporal Maiza, and Deputy Torres. It says, Dear Sheriff Gomez, I wanted to take a moment to commend 3 of your officers who, in conjunction with 2 other agencies, responded to a call at my home on July 23rd. It was a call resulting from an error with our security monitoring system. Unfortunately, I gave them the panic code instead of the safe code. The good news is that we don't ever use those code words, but the bad news is that we don't ever have to use those code words, and over time I forgot. I was very pleased with Officer Jacob Vega, Corporal Mais, and Deputy Torres, and the other officers that were very professional and patient. They were thorough in making sure the home was secure. I wasn't at home when this occurred and drove into the driveway to meet them. I understand how valuable your officers' time is and know the frustration they and any department must feel with frivolous calls that squander resources. For this, I apologize. I am grateful, though, that we have a sheriff's department that is available to the public under any circumstances which may arise. My husband and I travel quite a bit, and he is often out of town for work, so it gives us both the peace and security we need to know that our home and we are protected. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and please extend our gratitude to the officers, Vega, Mize, and Torres. And please know that the majority of citizens respect law enforcement and appreciate the sacrifices that they all make. We did post that as well on our Sheriff's Office Facebook page. Our operation summary, the alarm calls so far are down, no trends indicated. Many are determined as false alarm responses. The DV calls are upward trending. We need to realign our responses and enforcements on domestic violence, period. It's a high priority, more to be presented in the coming months. Motor vehicle issues, responses to motor vehicle crashes and DWI enforcements are up. Grant County continues to respond to and investigate, report more crashes. We intend to enhance our traffic enforcement operations in general and through state-funded enforcement programs which commence October 1st, 2019. Traffic enforcement is a priority issue countywide. On traffic stops, although part of our motor vehicle issues, traffic stops are down significantly due to the staffing and deputy time on task with dispatch calls for service. This will improve significantly with hiring with the commencement of the New Mexico DOT-funded traffic enforcement programs. And agency assists continue to be significant. The Sheriff's Office supervisors are now using better established guidelines and common sense responses and prioritizing and handling outside agency assists. Many are justified and necessary, and I'll give you a report on that more towards the mining district. The animals and livestock, upward trending. We need to realign our responses and enforcement on these calls. Livestock calls are important. However, the New Mexico Livestock Board should be responsive to repeat calls for issues involving poor maintenance of fences, gates which allow livestock to escape containment. Domestic calls for service, pets, primarily dogs, are a priority. The county ACO is one person who covers 3,900 square miles jurisdiction. The Sheriff's Office will be looking into enhanced Grant County ordinance enforcement as it relates to this issue. The Sheriff's Office currently has the capacity to issue the recently developed county citations as well as refer to the animal control for follow-up. This will require training and networking with the Humane Center and ACO Howard. Welfare checks, upward trending. The Sheriff's Office in general is encountering more and more calls involving welfare checks. Once on scene, we are unable to intervene as the subjects require immediate family services or mental health services or other social services intervention which are not currently available to the deputy on scene. Consideration might be given to the establishment of a response matrix which does not place the majority of work and physical intervention on law enforcement. There are other players who are better trained and equipped to provide emergency intervention than we are. Law enforcement is willing to do our fair share and work hard to facilitate citizens and families receiving assistance when in need or in a crisis. However, our resources and capabilities are infinite. Our numbers, please. I'll give you this one here in a little bit on our stats. Our mining district, the Sheriff's Office has not responded to significant numbers for calls for service. This takes into account our regular operations into municipalities such as court, civil process, and traffic issues while passing through a municipality or major roadways and highways. Hurley, the Office of the Sheriff has provided coverage and has responded to calls for service and self-ignited issues in Hurley. Due to the staffing issues, the Hurley Police Department is not currently able to provide 24-hour, 7-day coverage in their jurisdiction. However, the law enforcement operational activity has generally been slow. In Santa Clara, the Office of the Sheriff has provided coverage and has responded to calls for service and self-initiated issues in Santa Clara. Due to the staffing issues, the Santa Clara Police Department is not currently able to provide a 24-hour, 7-day coverage in their jurisdiction. Law enforcement operational activity has been moderate, which has committed the Office of the Sheriff to expend patrol resources in that jurisdiction. Baton Park. The Office of the Sheriff is committed to providing coverage in the Baton Park area. We have responded to 3 calls for service, dispatch calls, and many more patrol checks of that area. The Office of the Sheriff has also responded to and self-initiated 6 additional calls for service in close proximity to Baton Park and the Fort Byrd Medical Center. We recognize the need to both visible and accessible to the public in Baton Park. Last week, myself, the undersheriff, and 4 deputies attended the New Mexico Sheriff's Association in Rio Doso, and the training that they had was awesome. I mean, they had some outstanding training from drug interdiction to motel interdiction, trends of what's going on in our schools. A couple weeks ago, I did attend the New Mexico DARE Association conference. During that time, some instructors, DARE officers from Las Cruces, are also instructors with the active shooter program that they have in Las Cruces. I have a tentative date in October that we will be doing an operation county-wide on an active shooter. I've met with Chief Portillo and the Tri-City Chiefs. I still need to get with New Mexico State Police and EMS, but we'll be doing an operation where they will be presenting the training. They're going to provide all the ammunitions, all the training, where we'll be doing an active shooter in our schools. We'll be starting in Cobre in October, and we're working on a date to work with Silver Schools as well as an active shooter. So we're going to have teachers there, we're going to have some volunteers and students and stuff, and we're going to make it as realistic as we can and as safe as we can, and trying to get some type of a feel, if God forbid, but to be prepared for any type of crisis in that situation. In regards to my stats, our civil division for the month of July, so far DVOs are 28. Of August, which hasn't been completed, is 17. Notices are 83. For August is 66. Subpoenas are 223 in July versus right now 166. Summons 87. In August right now 33. The writs are 11. And in August we're 6. Total mileage that our deputies, our civil division, put for the month of July was 8,711 miles. Right now, for the month of August, we're at 5,205 miles. Some of the stats that I would like to bring, I did bring up that our alarms have gone down dramatically. This comparison would be from 7/20/19 to 8/20/19 versus the same time last year. The alarms of this year were 18 versus last year 31. We had a burglaries for this month have been at 2, last year 4. Fight calls for this month at 2, last year 4. Domestic disturbances 26, last year 21. Accident property damages 4, last year 5. And just accidents, a vehicle versus crash and minor accident are 4, last year 2. Our larcenies are up as well to 8 versus last year of 6. Stolen motor vehicles, we have 2 for this month versus last year of 2. The agency assists of last year we had 12. Or I'm sorry, this year we had 12 and last year we had 17. A battery, 3, last year 1. Our vacation frequent patrols being dispatched to a frequent patrol was 9. This year we've had 193 self-initiated versus last year dispatch was 9 and self-initiated was 347. Our livestock this year is at 13, and that would be either animal complaints of cattle being on the roadway or dogs are out of their property versus last year of 7. Harassment for this month are 13, last year we're at 10. Welfare checks, self-initiated were 3, and dispatch were 46. As of last year, self-initiated were 6, and dispatch were 46. Civil standbys have been 12, and last year 10. Breaking and entering, we've had 2 for the month versus last year of 4. Our citizen contacts for the month were 33 versus last year of 44. Suspicious person calls, self-initiated were 2, dispatched to 13. And last year, self-initiated was 3, dispatched to 13. Our criminal trespass warnings for the month were 4 versus last year of 1. And suspicious activity were 18 this year versus last year of 19. driving under the influence. The Office of the Sheriff had 2 arrests during this month versus last year, 0. Again, with municipality of Bear, our call to the service have been very minute. Bear does have a 24/7. Our guys will assist, and they do hang out a lot in the mining area to assist on graveyards or anything like that, but Bear pretty much is taking care of their own. Hurley Police Department, again, they are short, but the calls for service in Hurley are very minimum. The Santa Clara, from escorts to accident injuries, suspicious calls, private property accidents, and 2 larcenies that we've responded in Santa Clara where they didn't have coverage. That's pretty much my report. I stand for questions.
Thank you. Any questions? No, thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members, county manager, elected officials, and audience. For starters, I will probably have to leave the meeting a little bit early. I'm having a small procedure done at Gila Regional Medical Center. Thank you very much for having Gila Regional Medical Center here in my back door. I just want to start off that I do want to thank my employees in the Grand County Assessor's Office. Without them, let me tell you, they make my life very, very good. We had a young lady by the name of Victoria Marin. She actually went through her probation period, and she has done an exceptional job in the office. And not only that, she's one of the, she started as a temp, and we had her on what they call an in-house reappraisal. And the numbers that I gave the last time about our report brought in a lot of the net new valuation. Boy, if I had another 5 or 6 more employees with that gumption, I think we wouldn't have any issues about a revenue stream here in Grant County, because there's a lot of low-hanging fruit out there. Another thing I would just like to state is that we will be receiving our tax rate in September, and we might be a little bit delayed because of the Department of Finance Administration. They're actually we have within 5 days to approve these rates. So I do work quite closely with our treasurer. We have within 5 days at the commission, and I thought I'd bring that up to you guys, that because we'll have 5 days for you guys to approve the rates. So we'll have them checked. We've already had, thank you for my chief deputy, Matthew James. He's actually already ran the yield control formula, and I'll send all that information on over to you guys. But last week, our Commissioner Salas was interested in what's going on with our parcel correction mapping situation. So I actually brought my esteemed mapper, GIS, Tracy Bernstein, and has done an exceptional job, and I'm going to allow her to give a small report on where we're at on our parcel correction. Thank you, Tracy.
Hello. All right, test. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I usually prepare this report for Raul to give, but I thought since you had more questions that I would prepare a little longer report and be here for questions this time. So I'll just read it off, and then at the end, maybe if you have anything further, then I can answer those. So the parcel map correction project is proceeding with regular contractor Skype meetings. Bohanna Houston continues to work in the first phase of the project, which is by far the most time-consuming phase, about 70% of the total project, because of the detail of the work. They're redrawing the 221 county subdivisions, many with multiple plats, in CAD, and then migrating them to ArcGIS, which is the software platform that I use. Each lot boundary line is entered and drawn. For example, the south 89 degrees 34 minutes east 240 feet, which is a lot of work. But this will give an incredibly accurate survey grade starting point for our parcels. It's also valuable for the municipalities, the county, and NMDOT in knowing the originally platted right-of-way widths for other projects. The end of this stage, the drawing of the subdivisions, will be the adjustment, and this is because of how the subdivisions are placed or tied to the earth. based on the BLM PLSS points, Public Land Survey System points of beginning, which in our area are inaccurate to a high degree, and I've asked them, whether or not there's any project to fix those, and they don't see it in the near future. They did do the kind of the northern part of the state. So multiple recent surveys will be used locally here to make these adjustments, and detailed notes will be taken to be able to trace the changes from those original subdivision drawings to like the occupation of the aerial imagery. And then after this big stage is done, the remaining faster stages of the project include the current assessor parcel record that I keep being dropped into these adjusted subdivisions and then edge matched, and a data conversion from the current file type to a parcel fabric, which allows for faster adjustments of parcels during my regular workflow, and that will help continually improve the accuracy so we don't find ourselves kind of in the inaccuracies and discrepancies that we have now. And then the contractor will train county staff in the new parcel fabric environment. And this environment too, with the new ArcGIS Pro, they're integrating that environment too, so it'll keep going and it won't become obsolete. The project is 8 months into a 15-month contract ending in March. The contractor has 195 of the 221 subdivisions done, or 88%. This is a new type of project for Bohanna Houston, and it took a little more time in the beginning for them to develop a workflow, but they also now have a better understanding of how time-consuming parcels mapping actually is. And the firm is still confident the project will be completed within the 15 months that was written into the contract, but it's much more than their original optimistic 6 to 7 month estimate. And they're estimating right now they're about 50% project completion. And it will certainly be completed within the budget year, but I've asked for completion by the end of the calendar year, but speeding the process may result in increased inaccuracies because of the type of the work, just because it's so detail-oriented. After project completion, the remainder of the county will be assessed for resulting accuracy, and if needed, project funding will be estimated and requested for the following year. And this would be parcel adjustments by section, similar to the adjustment stage to the subdivisions, so it wouldn't be a complete redrawing of the county parcels. And then the recent surveys would be used to make the adjustments within those sections. And then as presented previously to the commission, not all the commissioners were here, the resulting parcel map will never be survey grade, but will be a significantly more accurate representation of parcel boundaries for county property assessment and valuation. But with worldwide changes in technology and becoming a data-driven world, the purposes of the assessor property ownership record have increased inherently. Within the county, property ownership data has been used for things like E911 addressing, emergency response, court cases, development siting, right-of-way investigation for projects, and for contacting property owners within project areas and voting areas. The title examiner, Parcels Mapper, me, is regularly providing information through public information requests to alternative energy developers, nonprofits managing projects, technology firms developing apps, title firms, surveyors, realtors, and many others. So the parcel ownership record is the core data for many other applications, both internally and externally, and upon completion of this project, the data will be much more usable, less confusing, and more reliable. And this indirectly facilitates projects, provides cost savings, and promotes development for the county. All right. That's the end. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions?
The extra time that Bohanna Houston is finding it's taking won't change the cost of their work, correct, to the county?
Correct. It won't. We discussed that up front, just because this was a new project for them, and so there weren't going to be any change orders or anything like that.
Great. When they're done with the 221 subdivisions, you mentioned they'll move on to the rest of the land. What percentage of the county, or of the mapping project, if it's different, are they going to have to do after the subdivisions are done?
Well, they won't be redrawing the rest of the county, but as far as the land area that they'll kind of be dropping into around the surrounding the subdivisions, I would say it's probably like at least 70 or 80% that's not covered by those subdivisions.
Right. That's what I was guessing also.
Yes.
But they're not redrawing any of that?
No.
Okay.
No, that would be the next stage. We'll see what it looks like after the subdivisions are in and they adjust to those. And then depending on how inaccurate the other portion of the county is, then we may ask for funding for that in the next budget cycle.
Okay, thank you. Another question?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I stand for questions in the assessor's office, if I may, there, Mr. Chairman, board members.
I didn't completely follow what happened. You mentioned one of your employees has done an excellent job, but it all sounded like it was in the past tense.
No, Miss Marine, she's actually she just went through her probation, she's on as full-time.
Oh, good.
And what happened is that the way we picked her up is by Workforce Solution. They paid some of the funding on that, and she actually did what they call an in-house reappraisal, and that's when we really pick up a lot of the net new valuation, that's where you can increase the revenue here in Grant County. Thank you, Mr.
Great, so she's still on staff.
Oh, she's here, she's
Excellent.
not going anywhere.
All right, good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we're just getting ready to advertise for our seasonal employee. Not our preference, but that's what we're headed for. And I will, other than that, if you have any questions.
No question?
No. Will we be discussing in county investment policy at some point? This was brought up, I don't know, a couple months ago. You look quizzical, so perhaps this never got to you. I think there's some interest on the commission in understanding county investment policy, our role in developing that policy, and your role in implementing it. If that's not ringing a bell, then we should get together. But I have had the idea that I'm going to be hearing about that at a meeting, and it's not happening, so perhaps the communication got lost.
I'm not sure what you're referring to, but the investment policy was established in, I believe it was 2010 or 11. And it was approved by the county commissioners and been established, and we've processed, done what we need to do.
So perhaps I should rephrase it, start from the beginning. None of us was on the board that approved that policy. I think probably most of us, maybe all of us, don't feel we have a really good grasp of what's in there. And maybe I'm just making a request then, that at some point when you're ready, when the timing is good for you, you could give us a little training session, as it were, or a review of what that policy is.
It's not complicated. I mean, it's a straightforward investment policy. The biggest, if you want to say, underlying, whatever you want to call it, the philosophy that was established and has been carried through since then is we don't buy and sell on a everyday basis. We buy and hold till maturity. We're a self-directed fund. We're not a managed fund, which saves us a ton of money. We're not paying broker's fees. We're not, nothing like that. Everything we get goes into the investment fund, and that's But, anyway, anytime if you, I mean, I'm sure that the investment policy as it stands is, available. It's recorded in the clerk's office. I mean, I don't know what, I mean, there's specific questions that you have about it. Anytime if you want to, either one-on-one or at a meeting, whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah, I think that probably it'd be good if we met with you one-on-one and, discuss it a little bit, know it a little bit better. And then if you have any ideas or any suggestions or where it could be tweaked or anything like that, right?
Well, as I say, it's not, what would you call it?
Rocket science?
Yeah, I mean, we've always, even though last year's audit was incorrectly read, which was admitted by the audit.
I think that's where this whole idea came from.
Yeah.
Was during that discussion.
Yeah.
Right, and so it's been that long that I've been wondering.
But we have always outperformed what the projection is for the investments. They were doing they did a completely different read when they were reading when they were doing the audit. They weren't looking at the right, and the auditor admitted, both to myself and to the county managers, that was not the correct figures that they used, showing that that we hadn't met, we were way over. There's like $80,000 projected, and we had made over $100,000 in that time frame. So we continue to, perform better with the in the returns than is projected in the budgets.
So, I suppose my preference would be an open explanation to all of us rather than one-on-one meetings that go over the same material. It seems more efficient that way. But instead of springing the question on you like this, maybe I'll put together a series of questions that you could answer to help us all understand.
Sure.
What it is, what our role is, whether it's something we should be reviewing, things like that. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you. Okay, I guess moving on to the next item on the agenda.
She really didn't want to report.
I guess not. I've seen all the elected officials, so next item is going to be public input. During this portion of our meeting, we welcome your suggestions and want to hear your concerns. This is not a question and answer period. Speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. Any individual would like to discuss an item in more depth may request to be placed on a future agenda. Request forms are available in the county manager's office. Anybody for public input? Yes, sir. If you can please state your name.
Good morning. My name is Robert Lucero. Good morning. My name is Robert Lucero, and I am here to address an issue that is happening up in Hanover. Within the last 6 months, I've lost anywhere between 15 and 25 animals up there. I have a neighbor who has dogs. His name is Rick Beckner. They're not licensed, registered. He continues to let them out at night, and they go into my property and they not kill my animals, they mutilate them. The last one that I had to put down, she was chewed on 4 times. There was no putting a Band-Aid on her no more. It was a turkey. I've addressed the issue with the animal control. I've addressed the issue with the Grand County Sheriff's Department. I've addressed the issue with the state police, and still, as of 2 nights ago, I caught the dogs again out. I've got pictures of them out on the streets. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to address this issue with anymore. I I'm lost. I feel myself lost, and that's why I'm here today. I need some help. So that's why I'm here. I am asking, please, stop what's going on up in Hanover. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's under public input, but not every day we have national championships here, national champions here in Grant County, but I would just like to, and I told the guys, we went down to El Paso, Texas. It was very pleasant. The hospitality was wonderful. The guys there in El Paso, Las Cruces, some from Arizona, were just amazing. And I'm bringing this up because not only economic development here in Grant County, a little bit of GRT having these tournaments. This was the El Paso Old School Classic Tournament, and it's their 10th year tournament. There was over 20 some odd teams in El Paso. We played in 3 different parks, and luckily to say that I played with a team called I just want to say the Morning Star Governors. We were the Morning Star Senators, thanks to Howie, our Lieutenant Governor, so now we've kind of upgraded as Governors, Lieutenant Morning Star Governors. So actually, I gotta let the guys know that they've done a fantastic job. We took second in this wonderful tournament, and we ended up playing 8 games, 4 on Saturday and 4 on Sunday at 104-degree weather. So I have to acknowledge the guys. I want to say Bobby Treviso, Tommy Rivera, Rafi Delgado, we got Tom Johnson, Bill Mahan, works for the Texas New Mexico Power Company. We also have Bobo Morales, we have Chippy Flores, Ron Chirra, Mateo Madrid. But let me tell you, he did good. He had a tough one on Sunday. But then we also have Legend. We call him Richard Lucero, the Legend. And but let me just say this: it was just so pleasant to talk to these people about El Paso and how they felt and what happened, a few weeks ago there at that Walmart and seeing such a positive attitude. But I just wanted to acknowledge these guys, and it would be nice if we could actually bring something down like here at Baton Park using Scott Park, but having such a venue to bring these guys in. So I just want to give a great big hand to those guys. But let me just say this, last night, 11:30 last night, we were doing tech support down at Western New Mexico University Fine Arts for the talent show. I am inviting all of you, everybody, we need to check it out. The Grant County, Silver City Grant County has talent. Tonight we have the full dress rehearsal tonight starting at about 6 o'clock. The newspaper is going to be there, and it's such a wonderful event. The talent that we have here in Grant County and Silver City, I'm just inviting you guys to show up. It's a 2-day deal. Starts at 7:30. Doors opens at 6:30 at the Fine Arts there at Western New Mexico University. It's a lot of fun, and I'll be hosting the show, so it's going to be kind of entertaining. So please come by, check it out. Call your familia. It's going to be wonderful. So thank you very much. Really appreciate that. All right.
Thank you. Anyone else in public speaking? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the next item. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes for August 8, 2019 work session and regular meeting minutes.
Mr. Chair, seeing nothing wrong with the minutes, I move to approve the minutes from the August 8th work session.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? No discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And we still do not have, is it still salsa music? Okay. I was going to check.
Commissioner Salas, are you there?
Okay. Thanks for checking.
Yes, I am.
All right.
There we go. So, welcome Commissioner Salas. Going to move on to the next item of the agenda is financial reports, consideration of August 15, 2019 expenditure report.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the August 15th expenditure report as presented.
And I second the motion.
Any discussion? See no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Moving to agreements, consideration of agreement 8-19-36, legal services contract.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve agreement 19-36, agreed legal services contract with the firm of Holt Minot Martinez PC.
I second that.
We have a second by Commissioner Billings. Any discussion? You know, the only discussion, and I'm not sure if it's in this, well, I'll just do it on my commissioner report. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
the only thing I'd like to know is if they figured out a fee schedule, if we call in to ask questions.
Mr. Martinez is here, and Mr. Springer.
Mr. Martinez, can you help us in answering that question?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Ponce, Commissioners. With respect to our fee schedule, the way our firm bills is we bill at 1/10 of an hour. So if you call the firm for any question that you need legal services on, and it's a 6-minute phone call, you get billed 1/10 of an hour. Based on the fee proposal we put forward, equity partners, which would be myself, Mr. Springer, who's with me, and Mr. Minat, I believe we bill at $165 an hour, and that would be 1/10 of an hour at $165. So it's based on 1/10 of an hour. If I spend a half hour of time working on something, you get billed for half the hourly rate. Now, the way that we have set up our RFP proposal is we have a total of 12 attorneys at the firm based on their experience. If an associate works for the county on a particular issue, they bill at a lower rate, but of course it's at 1/10 increments.
Okay, thank you. Does that help you, Commissioner Salas?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
And I would like to point out one other thing. There may be times that you would call us that you're not going to get a bill from us. If you call us for a 30-second phone call because it's just a real quick, this is how I read IPRA, am I thinking correctly? You're not going to get a bill for something like that. Our job is to try to save you money, not make as much money as we can off you. That's not what we're about. Thank you.
Which other counties are you representing right now?
Well, our firm does a mix of work. So we act as county attorneys and city attorneys for certain counties and government entities, and in-house counsel for government-type entities, but we also have a contract with the New Mexico Association of Counties. So when you say, what counties do you work for, it's fair to say we work for a lot of counties, but we're direct in-house counsel county attorneys for Hidalgo County. We have a separate contract with Doña Ana County to do overflow work. They have a full in-house county attorney's office, but certain aspects that they don't have expertise on, they send to us. We also have that same type of contract with Otero County. When the voting issues, they just farm it out to us. But we also directly represent those entities in litigation, civil rights type of litigation, jail litigation, police officer litigation. Brad acts as the city attorney for both Anthony and Sunland Park. We act as in-house counsel for MRVDA, which is the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority, which is the 911 center for Doña Ana County, Hatch, and the surrounding communities, Las Cruces. We also do the same stuff for the Mesilla Valley. I just went blank. It's in essence the animal shelter, and stuff of that nature. We've also been county attorneys for San Miguel County. We have represented City of Elephant Butte. We have represented TRC. Williamsburg, we act as their city attorney. So we just have a mix. We have 12 people that can help you. We all bring different things to the table, but one of the big cogs in our machine is government representation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, if you're not charging right now.
Right now's our...
No, we're not. We're here to shake hands and meet people and show you who we are.
I was just kidding. I'm interested in your work with New Mexico County, so what do you do for them?
For the New Mexico Association of Counties? Oh, yes, New Mexico Counties now changed the name, I forgot.
Yeah, I wish they'd change it back.
Yes, they have the new logo also. So what we do for them is varied. We do employment law cases for them. The bulk of our work is civil rights cases, so we handle a lot of officer-involved issues, Section 1983, New Mexico Tort Claim Act claims. We also do a lot of jail cases for them when people sue the county jails. So we're in federal court of law, we're in state court of law on both employment and police issues and jail issues. And that really, honestly, is probably 90% of my work is litigation for the association and for the city of Las Cruces on law enforcement issues.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
I now have a follow-up, but I apologize. In your work for Hidalgo and Otero, which sounded like the two counties that you directly represent on a regular basis, do you attend all of their public commission meetings?
We attend meetings when they ask us to attend. Now, we're involved with the putting together the agenda, reviewing stuff that needs to be reviewed that goes on the agenda. But with all our government entities, including Anthony and Sunland Park, we talk with the managers on a weekly basis to see if they need us there. I mean, you know, I think you've all been at meetings where the attorney for the board, whatever board it is, just sits back and doesn't do anything. So we can be available as much as you want us available, whether it's in person or whether it's by phone or Skype. But, you know, if we're involved in work sessions, most of that stuff is covered. As Commissioner Ponce pointed out during the public input, that's not really an opportunity where people ask questions and they get answers. So that's not really for an attorney to butt in on. But we can make ourselves available as much as you like. In fact, you know, with the way the meetings are set up, we're just a phone call away, first of all. But with the way the meetings are set up, we spoke with the manager, and the meetings, we'll be here all day if you need us here all day, till 5, sitting in the office answering questions.
Yeah, my concern was probably the other way around, that we probably would not need you
and
that much. And that's what I'm hearing you say, is that in your work with other counties, it doesn't sound like you need to attend all the meetings.
No, and I can tell you in our work with other government entities, what generally happens when government entities roll out of an in-house attorney and contract out is that first year there's a little bit of growing pains, and because we're trying to learn all the things that we need to learn about the county and all the things that have gone on before we've gotten there. So what we have found over the years is that first year there may be a little, you'll see that you've spent more money on our firm the first year, but the second, third, and fourth year it drops and it evens out, because once we all get our sea legs, we know what you want from us. It's a lot easier to actually project what you will spend on law firms for the year. I mean, the past 4 or 5 years, we're probably within $2,000 every year on Hidalgo County on what's going on.
Within 2,000 of?
You know, it's public record. I think they spent like $60,000 on us last year.
Okay. Right.
So you know, we're not, like I said, we can be here as much as you need us. There might be times when you need us more times than other times.
And you're comfortable with this situation? And that sounds great to me. Sounds perfect.
And the other thing, since we have had a long relationship with New Mexico counties, we work flawlessly with them. I know John Lynn does a lot of work for you guys. John Lynn and I are friends, so you're not going to have any bumping of heads when it comes to it, because being a litigator, my view is you let the litigator do what the litigator does, and I'm not going to be micromanaging. I would ask her to give us reports so we can give them to the manager and she can share with you, but we're not going to micromanage outside litigation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Seeing none, thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
We need a vote still.
So we need a motion, don't we?
I've made a motion, and Mr. Billings seconded the motion.
Okay, so we have a second by Commissioner Billings. Discussion's over, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries. You know, what I was headed to before the vote, I didn't know how this was going to be voted on, but if we could maybe set up a meeting with any commissioner that would like, with Mr. Martinez and so forth, so we can get to know him, talk to him, and I'm sure they have some expectation for us as also, you know, we may have for, you know, our biggest thing here is transparency, that we get, you know, as much information as we can on certain things that are happening, because we are ultimately responsible for the county. So any commissioner that would like to meet with them individually would, if you can set that up. And I know Commissioner Edwards is done, but I think that'd be a good thing, at least to get to know each other. Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Ponce, we can make ourselves available next meeting for the remainder of the day to meet with any elected official and commissioner that wants to meet with us.
Okay, I'm not sure what's going to hit us next meeting, but that's an idea. We'll check with the other commissioners when they come back, and we'll have our county manager reach out to you and let you know. Thank you, sir. So moving on to the next item of the agenda, consideration of agreement 8-19-37.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve agreement for emergency management performance grant, A-1937.
I second the motion.
We have a second by Commissioner Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion. Aye. Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you to Mr. Heldon.
Thank you.
We're just thanking you, that's all.
Next item is consideration of agreement 8-19-38.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve agreement A-19-38 for a grant, an intergovernmental grant agreement with the DFA.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to resolutions. Consideration of resolution number R-19-49.
I was going to be trading off, but I'll go ahead and move. Approval of resolution R-19-49 for the infrastructure capital improvement plan for the county.
I'll second that.
So we have a second by Commissioner Billings. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Salas?
this is our ICIP plan, right?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, does this, that we made any changes to the amount? I'm specifically looking at Baton.
Yes, we did. At the work session, Commissioner Salas, we discussed a couple of changes. One of them was Baton went up to 500,000 from 250, and it was expanded to include drainage projects.
Engineering for drainage, yes.
Okay, I did have a conversation with our state senator, and he did tell me that this might be the time to go ahead and ask for as much as we thought necessary. And the people that we really need to lobby for this would be our state senator and our rep. So you might want to consider even upping that to 750.
Okay, and I think part of that discussion, Commissioner Salas, just to let you know, is that, if we have that money, then we have to be able to provide justifications, and I think right now the commission feels that what we have here and asking for 500,000 is legitimate, and we do have proper justification for all that.
Okay, would we be able to amend that if it was necessary?
Yes, we would. We can amend
Okay,
it down the road.
then I'm good.
And you may be also interested to know, Commissioner Salas, that county fleet replacement also increased to 500,000 because it incorporated road machinery and one other item, the Correcaminos buses, so that we could all fit them in one and potentially take advantage of additional funding.
Okay, and where were we with the trails?
That's at 200,000.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Moving on to the next item of the agenda is consideration of resolution number R-19-54.
I move to approve this resolution for adopting infrastructure capital improvement for the Members Valley and Gila Senior Centers.
I second the motion.
You have a second by Commissioner Brown. Do we have any discussion? Okay, no further discussion, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to item I, consideration of resolution R-19-55. Deal with specifying the salaries of elected officials and chief deputies in Grant County, New Mexico.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve resolution R-19-55, the title of which you just read.
I'll second that.
So we have this, second, do we have any discussion?
And I just want to make a point that although it says specifying the salaries, the whole point of this resolution is just change the district numbers of Commissioners Ponce and Billings to be consistent with state law. There's no change to salaries.
Correct. I see you enjoying that.
I got lucky.
So, okay, yeah, any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Sorry, motion carries. Okay, so now you're Commissioner of District 1 and I'm Commissioner of District 4, right? Thank you. Moving on to the next item, consideration of resolution R-19-56.
It's your turn.
I move to approve R-19-56. Sorry, I first had to read it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Make sure that I was moving it forward. This resolution is to ratify agreement between Grant County and the Southwest New Mexico Council of Governments.
I second that motion.
Any discussion? No discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Moving on to the next item, bids and request for proposal, RFP. Item K, award reject bid B-20-01.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve bid B-20-01 to Deming Excavating, Inc. in the amount of $596,881.45 plus GRT.
I'll second that.
Is that the correct amount? Okay. Any discussion, any further discussion? No further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, now we'll recess as the Grant County Board of Commissioners and convene as the Grant County Health Care Claims Board. I need a motion for that. I forget it.
I so move.
And I so second.
Discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we really do that every time? I don't think we do that.
We do that either.
I think you just get to convene us.
I just do this?
Exactly.
All right. See, I forget too, so. Okay, item L there, consideration of appeal of denied December 2018 healthcare claims in the amount of $19,439.45.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I did speak with Richard Tuesday afternoon, and he was going to look into my question about the personal insurance and get back with us. And I don't believe he's had a chance to research that yet. I haven't heard from him.
If we deny these claims today, do they have a chance to appeal yet again with further information?
The next level of appeal is to the district court. You could table it if you wanted to wait for his response.
Mr. Chair, I move that we table consideration of the appeal of the denied December 2018 health claims.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of tabling this item?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion's tabled.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I move we approve the July 2019 health claims in the amount of $45,199.
And I second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Brown, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay. We'll adjourn as the Grant County Healthcare Claims Board and convene as the Grant County Board of Commissioners.
I like it.
There you go. All for you. Moving on to the next item of the agenda, Commissioner reports. Commissioner Brown, do you have a report?
No, I do not.
Commissioner Billings, do you have a report?
No, sir.
Commissioner Salas, do you have a report? Commissioner Salas?
No, sir, not at this time. Thank you.
Okay. And I have no commissioner report. I said what I had to say earlier. So I'm good for today.
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Discussion. Come on. Let's have a little discussion.
10:02.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, meeting's adjourned.
Well done.